Hey there, blade fans. Welcome back to, I think, what's going to be a very interesting, compelling review. This is my full review on the TKELL Agent 007. So OG Blade Reviews is going to do his best today to tell you about this Tomas Alas from Tactical Tavern design. Now, the original knife, the 001, I'll bring that out in a moment or two. That was designed by Bob DeMarco, and that's where the whole concept of the handle came in for this series of knives from TKELL. And right now we have 001 through 005 available. There is no 006, and this is the 007. And with any luck, I've got a pending design with Tim, and we might see a 008, or maybe I like 009. We'll find out. Without further ado, let's take this out of the sheath and see what we've got here. An amazing Tanto style design. Yes, it's a Tanto style design in the tradition of the Americanized Tanto, because we have this telltale compound grind here with a definite demarcation line. But unlike something like a cold steel Tanto, the original chisel point Tanto, we have a very elongated point on this with a, guess what, a hollowed swedge. Isn't that cool? Not a flat swedge, but a hollowed swedge. And what does all of that do? It gives you a knife that is extremely piercy, incredibly piercy. You can see by the shape of that. Let me get my foam block out here. I use this mil-spec foam to as a kind of a backstop, as you can see, from my 50 cal air gun. It's the only way to stop it indoors. I mean, you can't even squeeze this stuff all the way. At least I can't with my weaker, older hands, which used to be stronger. But you can see, with just a little bit of effort, I can get that all the way through. And I tried dropping these from about 3 feet the other day, this in the Agent 01, and I got through almost 2 of these from 3 feet, just dropping with the weight of the knife like a dart. It was incredible. And we still have an incredibly sharp edge on the knife. So I believe that was Tomas's goal here. Let me back out just a little bit. His goal was to create a smaller knife, and so it's built on the Agent platform. A handle that was devised by originally Bob DeMarco, the knife junkie, and refined, collab with Tim on making some some final changes to the handle. We'll talk about the ergos in a minute, because a lot of this is all about ergos in a smaller knife and what's carryable but still highly useful. And all you TKELLians out there, those that own and follow TKELL knives, you know what I mean. These knives are well thought out. Every single one of them is purpose driven, shall we say. Okay, so again, we have a grind that is roughly, slightly, maybe 55% of the way up the blade at this point, and it becomes greater here. And then we have this long sloping point, and it really still gives us a lot of meat at the tip, about as much as you could ask for, while still having a long, slender tip. The fact that the swedge stops short of the point, that's another really well thought out feature, because that gives you a flat here on the top edge. Now with the double ground knives, such as the 001, And sometimes we end up, and I'll show you a compare, we end up with a little thinner point, a little bit thinner than this. These are AEBL, but you have the option of picking up a ADCR V2 if you so choose, and you want even a little tougher seal. This is stain resistant. We call it stainless, but there are very few knife true steels that are stainless, because if you've got iron involved, you're going to eventually rust under the right conditions. So always important to take care of your blades. Keep them oiled up or whatever you choose to use. Now this also has the new BattleLock grips on it. These are injection molded, I believe, grips, FRN or GRN. I know Tim says his is a special composite. It has 30% glass in it. That might be a higher content than normal. They are very hard, and these little stipples here are extremely grippy. It's like rough sandpaper, basically. I don't think it's going to be too tough on your hand. And we'll get into more about ergonomics in a moment. I will say that if you see some lines here, I don't think those are intentional. I think they may have supplied me with the blem. I don't think we're trying to do like a Bastinelli claw marks here on this. And other features have been changed with this generation of agent knife over the original. We'll talk about that soon as well. I learned through Bob DeMarco's review of some TKELL knives recently that a lot of these are being outsourced to Nick Chuprin knives, NCC knives in New York, who runs a specialty CNC company. Hence, you can see that what we've got here that we didn't have before are these horizontal lines. Those mill marks are kind of indicative of the knife being made outsourced to Nick's company. Still, USA made, whole knife, entirely USA made. Let's get some specs on it before I ramble on for too long. But if you're into TKELL knives, I think you probably enjoy the longer review. We're going to call this just shy of 8 inches. It might actually be 8. I'll lay it on top if we need to be exactamundo here. Yeah, it's like 7 7/8, maybe a bit more. The blade length is 3 3/4, almost exactly. Almost exactly. Is that an oxymoron? Then we've got metric-wise 20 centimeters, and we've got 9.3 centimeters blade, 93 millimeters blade. Okay. How about some other measurements? In inches, blade stock, 0.16. Handle thickness right in the middle there, 0.57. And part of what's happening here is a little thicker handle. It ain't real thin to make up for the fact that it isn't really tall. So you need a little bit more to, grab onto. Blade thickness in millimeters, 4.2 millimeters. Handle thickness in millimeters, 14.5. Cranking up the scale here. Let's go to grams. And the weight of the knife without the sheath in grams is 112.23 and just shy of 4 ounces, 396 ounces. Very nice. It's a bit longer knife than the original 001. Let's talk a little bit about a new style of clip that we're seeing here. I'm not sure if it's optional. It was sent to me with this belt clip on it. It is called the APH, which is all-purpose horizontal. It is made by UltiClip. Way different than their original clamp-on clips, which a lot of people don't really care for because they're so tough to engage and disengage. But I must say they do keep a death grip on whatever you clamp them onto. So this can be repositioned. It can be made wider. And these screws can be loosened, and you can push it up a little bit, and it will perfectly fit a inch and a half belt, or inch and 3/4 the way it's set up here all the way down. So slightly adjustable. Can also be used in vertical, you know, if you wanted to carry this upside down or even not. It's very flexible in that you don't have these two fastening points fixed. You can expand and contract the width of this clip. Does it hold on to the belt? Oh man, I tried it. Absolutely. That hook is perfect. You know, a little bit like a coat hanger sort of a deal. It's smooth, so there are no sharp edges, nothing going to grab you or jab you with these. And I would say, you know, for 15 bucks, you can pick these up from Ulticlip, and they're on Amazon. I would definitely check these out for some of your knives and even maybe some of your pistol holsters and Kydex. Still have the original amazing fit, no rattle, and a superb push-off ramp that you don't see on every knife sheath. These sheaths, in a word, are perfect. The right thickness. They are pancake style. You've got plenty of attachment points, slots, and holes. And if you wanted to, you could even hang it upside down. It's that secure. You could do it neck knife, but it's a little heavy for a neck knife. Still under 4 ounces. Let's talk about the ergos. And we have to talk about the ergos in general of the Agent series, because all the handles, and I'm going to bring out a few more, all the handles on the Agent series are the same. You can swap these scales out for a scale on any other Agent series knife. That's a real beautiful thing. And you can get lots of styles of handles. Here's the Agent 001. And let's talk about a few changes that have occurred only on the jimping and on the handle. So first of all, you've got the new option of the BattleLock grips with this extremely grippy flat surface here in the glass-filled nylon style material. This is your, I think he calls it the bullet grip, and this is in G10, in a blue and black G10. They still have the lashing screws, so you can tie down with those screws that go all the way through. They're easily removable with a Allen key. I do have, I think, a kit that Tim sent me with an earlier TKELL knife where, you know, we've got a nice, easy to carry hex key that you can put on your key ring. So what's changed? I didn't realize this until Bob pointed it out in his recent TKELL review. We have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry, what do we have? Yeah, we have 4 bumps here. We have 3 here, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't count that one. 1, 2, 3. They're a little wider spaced. So on this particular knife, they're not all going to be the same, but on this particular 007, they're a little wider spaced. Also, they're chamfered on the edges here, so we don't have the sharp edge that we had here. Not that it was that sharp, I'd never minded it. Notice on the top edge here of the 001, we have a nice sharpening choil. We have a nice sharpening choil on the main edge down below as well. I was talking earlier about points, and they're probably about the same thickness. I'm not going to try measuring them with a caliper, but we have a sharpened edge right out to the point on this one, and we have a flat on top of this one. The flat's going to give you just a bit more durability with regards to the frangibility, if you want to call it that, of the point. I mean, you hit something hard enough, stone or steel or whatever, with a point of any knife from any steel, from any hardness, and you're going to have damage. But these are meant to be flesh-eating monsters. Now there's a little more drag, okay? A little more drag when I'm pushing it through on the 001 than on the 007. You can definitely feel that. However, you don't have the sharpened top edge. When you're in TKELL with this knife, you've got that inner sharpened edge. You've even got this area that can be used for clamping right in here. And we're talking about Filipino and other style knife techniques where the blade can be used to trap and to cut on the reverse edge. One thing I did notice is that the 007 is a bit longer than the 001. See if we can show that. Get the pommels lined up. So yeah, you can see that we have maybe a half an inch longer. Am I right on that? Really depends upon where the handle begins and ends. So yeah, just over 3.5 inch blade. And as I mentioned before, 3 3/4 inch blade on the 007. Let's bring out some other culprits here. Maybe before we do, well, maybe we'll bring those out first. What am I going to do? Here is the 002, a Wharncliffe style shorter blade. So call it a sheep's foot, call it a Wharncliffe, call it a modified sheep's foot or Wharncliffe. It's a 3-inch blade. So if you can't go over 3 inches in your jurisdiction, you're concerned about that, the 002 is perfect. Also the 005, no, 004, I believe. You have to check me on that. 004 is sub 3 inches, and that is a real nice little blade for those that need a sub 3-inch blade. And we'll bring out the 003, probably one of the most useful all-around blades in the Agent series. Again, this earlier model, notice we have a little bit less jimping here, and it's formed more like a thumb ramp than the flat of, well, this has a little bit of a ramp too, right? But we've got a flat ramp on the 07 and the 01. On the 02, we have a little bit of that ramp going on there. And we've got the same thing going on the 03. I'm going to lose track of the numbers pretty soon. By the way, here is the typical clip that will get shipped if you don't ask for the APH. And again, Tim can correct me if the APH is shipping. That is the Ulti-Clip APH versus this flexible kind of nylon plastic. Serves the same purpose. Clamps over the belt. You can wear it just about anywhere. Appendix, kidney, 90 degrees, 3 o'clock, whatever. I've found a lot of use for these, and they have worked very well if you choose to get that one. I believe it'll still be available. So that's the Agent series that I currently possess. And I want to thank Tim for his generosity in sending these all for review, at one time or another. You know, every time I mention Tim's name, I just get all choked up. What can I say? Putting the other Agents to the side for the time being, we'll talk just a little bit about other Tanto style blades, or really Osuraku Zukuri as well. First of all, this is the Copperhead from Compliance Edge, and this shows you more of your typical chisel point Tanto. A lot taller, and a little more obtuse. It's a very pointy point, but you notice the difference in that rakish forward angle of the 007. A lot more penetration ability there. We could compare it favorably with something like the Williams Osuraku Zukuri Mini Kaiken. That's a mouthful. But we've got the same kind of blade geometry going on without the secondary grind being forward, but rather being back. This is a very traditionally styled Tanto type of knife, which you probably wouldn't consider to be a Tanto, but it is in the general sense. And we got a 3.5-inch blade going on with that one. Actually, looks like 3 3/4. Yep, 3 3/4. So we got the same length blade. And this is a very piercy blade. You can see where the angle near the point is very much the same, even though it's more bellied than the 007. And it is in its own right an extremely good piercer. Slides right through. And with this satin finish on this one, this isn't Sleipner steel, by the way, made by Lion Steel, as you can see. Really great knife. For those that feel you need a guard, you can definitely hang on to this. You got a taller handle, but here, of course, we got the finger grooves and all of this highly textured handle. I think the BattleLock grips are going to be the way to go, and the APH clip is going to be the way to go if you're ordering anything from TKELL. So here we have, again, for our parting shot, the 007 dropping on, I almost forgot, dropping on November 21st. This has already dropped in the latest versions on 11/1, November 1st, 2025. I'm not sure about future drops for the other in the Agent series, others, but there you go. And right about now, you'll see my logo over here. Don't forget to click on that if you haven't subscribed, and I do hope you subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video. Got to support TKELL. So be well, take care, stay safe. You will with these guys.